So, welcome to the session. Today we are going to learn about a zoonotic disease. So, what is the name of that disease? I'll tell you later. First, let me take you to something which happened in May 2014. A lady medical officer was sitting in the OP of a district hospital in the district of Malappuram. And a lady around 46 years old, she came to the OP. She had fever and headache and myalgia. Actually, she was from a tribal settlement in a reserve forest in Nilambur. So the lady medical officer thought it is a viral fever, gave her some medications and sent her home. She asked her to come back after a few days if the symptoms didn't subside. So after 3 days, this lady, her name was Nanyamma, and she belonged to the Kartanayagar tribes. So she came back, and this time she told that she had severe body ache, and she also said that she had some bleeding from the gums and hematemesis. So the lady medical officer admitted the woman and she investigated, and from the history she also obtained the fact that 1 week back the lady had seen a dead monkey. How she noticed the monkey was when she was walking. She was actually a honey gatherer, and she used to earn her living by trading this honey for some other items that she wanted for her livelihood. So usually in that place, all the people living in the forest, they earn their livelihood by selling these forest products. So she also was like that. So on her way back home, something bit her, and she wanted to find what the insect was. So she looked around, and that's when she saw the dead monkey. So this medical officer, something suddenly struck her. So this is a viral hemorrhagic fever and a dead monkey. So could this be monkey fever? So she called up the district surveillance officer, the district medical officer, and then in a few days there was a team from the National Institute of Virology to investigate the case. They found similar cases, and around 1 month back, before this case was reported, they had identified that there were 2 deaths in around that area, I think around 1 kilometer or so. And the first death was a man, and he had fever, but he didn't go to the hospital. So the health-seeking behavior of these people generally very poor. So he did not go to the hospital. After 1 week or so, the woman, the wife of that man, also developed fever, and she also succumbed to the fever. So these 2 deaths were there in that area, and there were also several other cases of fever that was reported. So they collected blood samples from them, sent to the NIV Alappuzha, and from there to NIV Pune, because the testing for the virus, the monkey fever that they suspected, could be done only in a lab with a level 4 containment. So that was taken to NIV, and they found IgM positivity, and also the RT-PCR also was done, and thus they identified a new focus of a disease. This is the disease about which we are going to today, and that is Caisseneur forest disease. Why the name Caisseneur? Why the name Caisseneur? Because the first case was reported from the Caisseneur forest. Caisseneur forest in Shimoga district of Karnataka. And that was in the year 1957. Around 70 years ago, this disease was first identified, but still we do this disease. And that is how the name Caisseneur, and of course it's related to the forest, especially the forest along the Western Ghats. That is the name Caisseneur forest disease. And this is also known as monkey fever. Why it's called monkey fever? we will know while we go across the chapter. So today we will discuss about a little introduction, then the cause, clinical features, diagnosis, treatment and prevention. So far I was talking about the story that happened in May 2014, and that is published in an article in a journal. I think I put that in the PowerPoint. You can read that article. Then we just discussed about why the name Kyle-Snowd-Forrest disease. So Kyle-Snowd-Forrest disease, or KFD, is an acute hemorrhagic fever. It's an acute hemorrhagic fever. Of course, it's a viral illness. It's a zoonosis. And what is the cause of the illness? The cause of the disease is a virus. And the name of the virus is the KFD virus. KFD virus, it is an arbovirus. It belongs to the family of Flaviviridae. Of course, you may know other viruses. We have learnt about other viruses belonging to this Flaviviridae. And that is the virus. How does the virus enter man? So this virus infects ticks. Infects ticks. Ticks. We will learn about what is a tick, how to identify ticks, and all those in our entomology classes. There are basically two types of ticks. You have a hard tick and soft tick. And this virus infects the hard tick. The scientific name of the tick is Haemaphysalis spinigera. This is the main type of hard tick which gets infected. And this hard tick actually infests or a seed on the body of monkey. It infests the monkeys and some small rodents also. In monkeys, this causes the disease and it results in the death of the monkeys. Once the monkeys dies off, then this hard ticks come out of the body, and then suppose man goes near the monkey, or even otherwise these hard ticks can come to bite man. And the bite of this man, so monkeys can be considered as the host of the virus. It is actually an inefficient host because it is not living. It is not living up, or it's dying out. So because of that, it cannot carry that for long. So it's considered as an inefficient host. So small rodents also get the infestation. Cattle also get infected, but those are not very good hosts. Rarely do the man get infected from these type of animals. It's usually from the monkeys. And then the humans get it by the bite of the monkeys. So the mode of transmission is the bite of the monkeys, and humans usually is the dead end infection. It's not passed on from human to another human. So there is no human to human transmission that is reported. There is no human to human transmission that is reported so far. At the same time, there have been reports of laboratory acquired infection and infection which occurs in those who are going for outbreak investigation, that is reported. So that is why this virus is considered to be a virulent virus, very virulent virus. So a laboratory person who is handling the virus has to be very cautious. That is why the virus test, the test related to the detection of the virus, can be performed only in a laboratory as a maximum containment facility, the level 4 laboratory. Okay, so that's how the human gets infected. So that is the cause, and we have discussed how it is transmitted to humans via the bite of the ticks, and monkeys play an important role in the transmission of the disease. So if we go back to the early days, the first case when it was reported in 1957, we should also understand that it happened because of deforestation. When the forests were cleared, the monkeys that were arboreal, they were living in the trees and all, they started they are scavenging on the floors, and these hard ticks on the floors infected them. So the deforestation and urbanization are considered to be one of the reasons why this disease has occurred in man. So what have we discussed so far? A little seen introduction and the cause of the disease, the virus, and the bite of the hard tick. Now, how are we going to diagnose this disease? So, we should know the clinical features. As I said earlier, it is a febrile illness. So, definitely there will be fever. Along with that, there's headache, myalgia, as we saw in the case of Manjama. Then there will be gastrointestinal symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea. Along with that, some of them may develop the hemorrhagic manifestations. GIT hemorrhage manifestations, the form of bleeding from the gums, hematemesis. Then you can have epistaxis, bleeding from the nose, bleeding from the rectum. Sometimes ocular manifestations like the conjunctival congestion, the retina, vitreous humor, all these can get involved. So these are the hemorrhagic manifestations. Usually in 2 weeks' time, this illness, 80% of the people will recover from the illness. But this illness KFD is considered as a biphasic illness. Biphasic illness. What is biphasic illness? Biphasic illness means there are 2 phases in the illness. That doesn't happen in all. 80% will recover in 2 weeks. In the rest, 20% you will get the second phase of the illness. Second phase of the illness. And this, if the hemorrhagic manifestation persists, then the outcome of the patient will be poor. So then in the second phase of the illness, there might be fever. Sometimes there might be fever alone. But most commonly, along with the fever, there will be neurological manifestations. Neurological manifestations in the form of, there can be like disorientation, there can be the altered sensorium. There is no reports of encephalitis or then they say that the Koenig sign may be positive. You can have an abdominal ankle reflex elicited. So these neurological signs are common in the second phase. But this also, the patient will usually recover. So, and the disease is not that fatal, but you do have deaths occurring in the disease. So, what is the case fatality rate of the disease? Case fatality rate of the disease is 2 to 10%. So, if you have 100 people with illness, you can lose around 10% of the people. That is especially more if the health seeking is poor. So, as I said earlier, in that investigation, they had found 2 deaths. So, in a family, and so when the health seeking behavior is poor, and also when the population is near in terms of immunity, they don't have, they are not previously exposed to the illness, they do not have immunity to the illness, then the case fatality will be high. So this is the clinical features or the manifestations of the disease, and we should know that it's a biphasic illness. But we do not know why in certain people it comes as a biphasic illness. Some people recover from the illness, but some people succumb to the disease. That needs to be studied. So this is in short about the clinical features of the disease. Now, what are the laboratory tests that are done? As we said in the investigation, the two important tests that are done for KFD currently one is the RT-PCR. So we are now in the COVID era, so I do not need to explain what is RT-PCR to you. All of you know this reverse transcriptase PCR, polymerase chain reaction. That is one test which is done, but that is done in the early phase of the illness. Later on, you can get the IgM, ELISA positivity, and also during the convalescent phase or during the later part of the illness, you will get the IgG ELISA positivity as well. So these are the tests that are usually done for the diagnosis of the disease. But when you are investigating a case, you would also take samples from the monkeys. You would be also looking at ticks to identify whether those monkeys and ticks are infected with the disease. So that's about how you will come to arrive at a diagnosis. Regarding treatment, there is no specific treatment for the disease. So there lies the importance of prevention. So there is no specific treatment. What you can do is you give supportive measures, like you give antibiotics, you will give analgesics, then fluid management, the form of intravenous fluids, and those supportive measures, the only thing that you can do in case of the disease. So prevention is very important. So let's look at what are the measures for the prevention of KFD. Prevention. So first and most important thing I'd like to tell you is regarding surveillance. So you must have heard this word. We regularly discuss this in our classes. But there is a particular form of surveillance that we employ for KFD, and that is what is called as the event-based surveillance. What is the event? And the event that we look for in KFD is the death of the monkey. So that is considered as a trigger, a warning sign. Then we should act and take control measures for the prevention of the disease. So if monkey death occurs, then that is considered to be a hot spot or a foci for infection. And then we would have to act. Where do we act? Usually we act in an area around 5 kilometer radius. Around 5 kilometers radius of the area where the monkey death has occurred. So if you are constantly, so surveillance, as we know, is a continuous scrutiny over the factors which determine the occurrence and spread of disease. So here the monkey death is one factor which can trigger the occurrence of more cases in that area. So that we are looking out for this event. So this is called as event-based surveillance. So that event-based surveillance is a form of monkey surveillance. Monkey surveillance. So besides the surveillance in monkeys, you also have surveillance in humans. So routinely we do have the IDSP reporting. So that will give us a clue to whether we are getting cases or not. So that is the surveillance in humans, and also you can have tick surveillance. So where you can look for the virus in the ticks as we did in the investigation. So these are the forms of surveillance which we employ for KFD. So the first measure is surveillance. So that will give us an early warning signal for us to act. Surveillance is very important. In short, we have studied surveillance as data collection for action. That's a very brief definition. So that is surveillance. What is the second thing? So you would have to control the ticks. Monkeys, of course, we can't do anything to them. So the tick control is another measure that we should take. So how do we control ticks? Either you protect yourself from being bitten by the ticks. For that, what can we do? That is by the use of repellents. So you can use repellents like neat is one repellent, that is diethyl entolimide, or you can use any repellents or oils that will keep away the ticks, and you will not get bitten by the ticks. Or you can use the insecticides to kill the ticks, like malathion is used. It is sprayed on the forest floors, as I said, in that area of operation, around 5 kilometer radius of the identification of the death of the plant. So that is the second measure of tick control. The third thing where we can look at is health education. It's a very important measure. Health education is very important. You create awareness among the people so that the health-seeking behavior is improved, and you can also reduce the mortality if the health-seeking behavior is improved and the actions can be better. Another very important measure for the prevention and control is vaccination. Vaccination. So the vaccination, I think we will look at it in a little detail, because this is one thing that is very important for KFD. So there is a vaccine which is a killed vaccine or a formerly inactivated vaccine. It is a inactivated or a killed vaccine. It's a formerly inactivated vaccine, and you give 2 doses of the vaccine. And when do we give the vaccine? For whom do you give the vaccine? Usually it is done in endemic areas. So I think we did discuss about a very important point, that is, where is the disease seen? Where is the disease seen? I think I'll add that as the places where this disease is seen. It's very important to know. As I said, one place that it started is the Karnataka. So that was in 1957. From 1957 to 2012, this disease was restricted to 5 districts in Karnataka. 5 districts in Karnataka. So that was, of course, the Shimoga district, then the Uttar Kannada, Dakshina Kannada, and Chikmagalur, then some other districts also. That was in Karnataka. But after that, we have 2013. You have the district of Wayanad in Kerala being affected with the KFD. There was a foci in Wayanad. Later on, Malappuram district in Kerala and some areas of Palakkad. All this along the Western Ghats, the forest of the Western Ghats. So Malappuram, Wayanad in Kerala, and in Tamil Nadu, the forest of the Nilgiri forest, in those areas it is seen, and some places in Goa and Maharashtra. So these are the places which are endemic or where the disease is seen. So if you have a foci of the illness, what we will do is, this disease is usually seen between December to June. Between December, sometimes it occurs as early as October. So before December, that means around 4 months before December, that is from August to November, you will start giving the vaccine. So you have to give 2 doses of the vaccine 1 month apart. So you have 4 months time, August, September, October, November. You have 4 months time to give the 2 doses of the vaccine. Once you have given these 2 doses, it is not enough. And to whom are you going to give? It's giving endemic in these areas, we said, where there is KFD, and it is given to 7 to 65-year-olds, and you give 2 doses. After that, the first booster you have to give at around 6 to 9 months after the second dose of this, so first booster. After that, you have to keep repeating the dose annually, the vaccine annually. That is for another 5 years. You have to give it for 5 years till the last case of the KFD is reported. So this is about the vaccine. But the sad thing is that this is not a very efficacious vaccine. Around 60 to 80% is the vaccine efficacy, and also the coverage is also low because people do not accept the vaccine. So these are the areas on which you can work on. So one more point I would like to tell you is what are the areas of potential work in future. So the first area would be like, you know that this is there in certain places along the forest of the Western Ghats, but we are not sure whether there are other areas where this disease is found. For that we may have to go in for some surveillance, like some serosurveillance. This is also one form of surveillance, that wherein you will look at the antibodies for the disease in community. So that can be employed to find out newer areas of the disease. Then regarding the diagnosis, we said that the diagnosis is done in a level 4 containment laboratory. NIV has come up with some formulations which can inactivate the virus, and so that you can do the test in a laboratory with lesser containment facilities. The level 1. So that this coming up, so those are areas which needs further research. Likewise, you need tests which can be employed in the field, point of care diagnostic tests in the field. That is one area which needs to be worked on. Then we still do not have a treatment for the disease. We need better vaccines. We do not understand the immunology of the disease, why certain people get severe illness and why there is biphasic in some people and others. So these are the areas which we can work further. I think we will conclude today's session. So what we have learned is about Cayenne forest disease or monkey fever. It's an acute viral hemorrhagic fever. It's a zoonosis. We learned that it is caused by the KFD virus. It's a flavivirus. It is caused by the bite of the hard tick, and the monkeys play a very important role in the transmission of the disease. The death of the monkey is an important event which signals the onset of foci of illness. The diagnosis is with IG, and the clinical features we said it's a biphasic illness. You can have hemorrhagic and neurological manifestations. The diagnosis is using the RT-PCR or the IgM and IgG ELISA. We don't have a specific treatment. Prevention is through surveillance, tick control, health education, and the proper use of vaccine. So that's all for the day. Bye.